Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another NANEA Energy Advisors 2-Minute Tuesday. I'm AJ Brockman, NANEA's Content Marketing Manager, and today we will be talking with Senior Energy Advisor and Mid-Atlantic Manager Mike Eckenroth about the specific challenges that manufacturers face when it comes to energy. So let's get started. So Mike, when it comes to energy, what would you say are the top 2 to 3 challenges that manufacturers typically face?
Good question. I would say number one is probably how to reduce and control energy costs. Manufacturing is a typically energy-intensive process. You're taking a number of raw materials, putting them through your process, converting them to what you want to make, and through that process, there's a lot of energy consumed. So it's really about a concern is about how to reduce and control those costs to keep their operational costs low. And then secondly, as far as energy procurement goes, they want to have confidence and efficiency in that energy procurement, which isn't always easy to do. There's a lot of different choices available. There's brokers that'll call you, there's advisors, there's consultants, there's various different suppliers you could choose and products. So really figuring out a process to determine which is the best method to use for those.
Okay, great. And when you talk to manufacturers or decision makers in manufacturing, what sorts of tips or solutions to those challenges are they typically looking for?
So to answer the second point there, we did a broker versus advisor video a few weeks ago or a few months ago. So I'd recommend you check that out. But really, it's about finding an advisor or consultant that you trust and that sits on your side of the table. You want them negotiating with suppliers on your behalf to achieve your goals. So you should feel like all those things are being met by them, and I'd recommend interviewing a few different ones. You get a feel with who has your best interest in mind and who has your best interest at heart, and you have the most confidence in, really. Secondly, is identifying opportunities which they might not have seen otherwise. So the really probably number one way to do this is with an energy audit. So you might have, you have various operations that you're in and day out. You might not realize there's opportunities in front of you for that. This could be things like LEDs or HVAC controls, variable frequency drives. It could be water controls. And an energy audit will identify those, all those opportunities, and then we can prioritize those according to your ROI goals. So this is really about making you more efficient, doing more or the same output with less energy input. So reducing those costs from that side. And then secondly, along that same vein, is demand response. So demand response is a voluntary curtailment program during emergencies. So for a few hours of participation a year, a manufacturer could earn tens of thousands of dollars in payments for those. So it's particularly important for manufacturers because they usually have some control over when their energy is being consumed. They can schedule activities at different times and things like that. And so it's typically a program that works really well. And lastly, tax exemptions. So this has been huge for manufacturers that we work with. And I should say, NANEA Energy, we are not a tax firm. We are not licensed tax professionals who can provide advice on taxes. However, we're aware of some exemptions that exist, and we can double check your bills for those. So if you are paying taxes and you shouldn't be, that's something, if you are paying taxes, that's something we'll be able to look at and either recommend you to one of our partner tax firms or have you investigate it and recover that money, up to 48 months in some states, as well as remove that cost moving forward. So that's really low-hanging fruit that's available for a lot of manufacturers.
Great. Those are some pretty pretty great tips, Mike. Lastly, I want to talk about green energy. Sustainability is starting to become more of a factor for both producers and consumers. What advice would you give to manufacturers or decision makers who are considering going green?
So what we talked about with energy audits, that's going to be, even though it may or may not seem like that's the easiest way to go green, that probably is one of the easiest. So there's a lot of waste energy and a lot of different processes that are used by manufacturers. And there's ways to recover that. And there's ROIs that are, increasingly lower and lower to match some of those 2 or 3 year goals that different organizations are going to have for that. So that would be number one, is looking at those energy efficiency opportunities. Number 2 is going to be looking at sourcing your energy with green power. So typically energy supply agreements are going to be maybe 10% renewable, depending on your state or municipality. And there's options to source 100% of your energy from renewable sources. You do pay a little bit of a premium on it, but you're probably talking about 1 to 2%. So it's very manageable. And if green energy is a corporate initiative or an initiative for your organization, or going green that's definitely a way to achieve that. And then thirdly, on-site generation. This is typically a little less popular, mostly because you have to have the floor space or the space to dedicate to it. There's requirements like how long are you going to be in the building, lease obligations, and then lastly, a lot of ROI constraints that you're going to have to sort through. This is going to be, on-site generation is going to be typically a longer term play on the ROI. But, if you have the square footage or the roof space to allocate to solar, and you have a longer term that you're willing to accept the ROI for, that's absolutely something that you should be looking into and might provide the results you're looking for.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Mike, for all of that great information. And thank you to everyone for watching our video. If you're in manufacturing or if you're a decision maker for a manufacturing facility, tune into our webinar on June 25th. We will be presenting some energy tips that are specific to you. So thanks again for watching our video. And if you found this video helpful, please like, comment, or share below.